Well, it's a new day, so I guess it's time to go see what these pillow springs do when they're not there. Goes, but it doesn't have that like kick that wants to pick the front wheel up like the stock clutch has had for me. I don't know, it could be the setup. I think what I'm going to do is stick the stock clutch back in here and see how it does with that in direct comparison to this, especially since I've changed jetting. But it feels good off the line. I don't have any problem with it as far as performance in general, but it just doesn't have that feeling like the front end wants to come up like the stock clutch is giving me. Even when I sit on the front of the seat when this thing's right and I take off, it feels like it's trying to pull up, and it just doesn't really feel like that so much with this one. So I don't know, we'll see. Like I said, I'll do a more direct comparison, put the stock clutch back on here and see how it does. I think I just found another problem while I was doing the clutch swap here. You can see the stuff running down from this seal, so I guess my gearbox gear oil seal here is leaking. I should probably replace it now, but I really want to do the test more back to back with the two clutches, so I'm going to go ahead and put the clutch on and do a couple test runs, and then I'll replace that later. Killing it. Other than that, it wants to pull it up with this. Well, as far as feel, I think the modified stock clutch feels better to me. Seems like it has more likelihood to try and pick the front end up. But it's struggling right now, even to do that, because I've got a lag before it kicks in for just a part of a second, and that kind of ruins the snap in. And I'm sure that's going on with the Dr. Pulley hit clutch too, but even with it lagging, it feels like this wants to hit harder. I could be wrong about that. I really like to try and base what I say on fact rather than just what I believe by my seat of the pants butt dyno or whatever. So it seems like right now I probably need to get that throttle response better, and it was really good before, and the weather just keeps changing around from day to day right now. It's the very beginning of fall today, and the weather just keeps going back and forth, so I can't seem to get a tune that just stays there. And I think I need to mess with the needle. I'm probably going to try going leaner on the needle, which this needle's all the way leaned out, so I'm going to have to see what I've got around. I've been kind of fed up with the Dr. Pulley hit clutch because I just don't feel like I'm getting anything out of it for $200 versus my stock clutch that I modified for free. But I posted on the forum about it, and some of the guys on the forum are telling me I shouldn't give up on the clutch yet. One forum member, pitobread, who also has a YouTube channel, suggested that I bed in the clutch. He said he always does it. Basically the idea is to get the most surface contact here with a bell. I'm not sure that this shows up in the camera, but you can kind of see there's patterns here where I'm not getting the full contact patch of the friction material here against the bell. So the idea is to attach some sandpaper to the inside of the bell and then run the clutch and the bell just on the stand or whatever, use a little bit of brake, just to get the clutch to engage and kind of wear itself in against the bell. It's sort of like the same idea of like lapping something together. So I'm going to give it a shot. I mean, obviously it's a good idea to get as much contact patch there as you can. So what I'm just going to try is spraying some of this 3M spray adhesive onto the inside of the bell. I've cut out strips here of 80 grit sandpaper, and hopefully that will make them stick well enough to stay on there, just so I can try doing that real quick. And I will most likely cut away, so it looks like it's fairly instantaneous, but this stuff tells you to give it time to set up and get tacky before you apply the whatever you're sticking together. There's a look at the now sandpaper lined clutch bell. I have my doubts of whether this is actually going to work for me or not, if that's going to be sticky enough that it doesn't just fly off. But I'm going to give that plenty of time to set up before I actually try doing that. While I'm giving the adhesive time to set up on the clutch bell, I'm swapping to a different needle. I went from a D36 to a D22. The D22 is actually the needle that comes with this carburetor stock, and it's the same dimensions as what I was using, except it has a shorter taper. I believe it's a 4mm shorter taper, so it'll just be less fuel than the previous needle. I've been thinking it probably needed to be leaned out on the needle basically since day one, but I've really tried to avoid going any leaner than I had to. At this point, when I'm getting some lag on the throttle still, or sputtering or bogging, then I think it's pretty much necessary that I'm going to have to change the needle. But I believe I'm going to go back to the slightly richer needle that I just had in there, because I'm not seeing any huge advantage of this leaner needle, and it seemed to sputter on me a little more at getting back into it from a roll at times. So yeah, no sense in leaning it out and running hotter, taking more risk if I'm not getting a big advantage out of it. I just swapped back to the D36. I put it in the leanest position just like it was, and tried it around the yard real quick. Didn't have my camera on, but it seemed better than the leaner needle. So then I just tried revving it in the garage, And then I swapped it real quick to the next to leanest position, so one position richer, and tried revving it again, and it seemed like maybe it liked to rev a little easier there. So I'm just going to do a quick road test, find out if that helps me. That's definitely better. There we go. Run with the needle moved one clip richer was the best I've felt. I could actually feel that that pole like it was trying to come up off the ground when I took off. So I'm just gonna try one more step richer and see how it does. Feel as good, so I'm going to go ahead and put it back to the next to leanest position where it seemed to work best. But it was interesting because it softened up the hit so much. It actually was more docile and way easier to ride like around town because it wasn't constantly just bucking and jumping every time I got near where the pipe hits. It could actually hang out there because I assume it's running so much cooler and not so likely to hit. Disappointing if you're after all-out performance, but if you actually are trying to ride around and use something like this as a more calm, normal kind of riding scooter, that can be useful just to richen it up and keep that pipe hit from being so aggressive. Like I said, just for around town and slow riding and such. But for me, I'm really just concerned about what gets it off the line the hardest, if I can get the wheel up in the air and all that kind of fun stuff. So now that I've got some positive results, I'm feeling it pull off the line better. I can feel it trying to lift up. I can get the wheel up in the air a bit now. I know I've still got the Dr. Pulley clutch sitting up on my workbench. I believe the adhesive is dry enough that I can probably try it right now. But the clutch really isn't a big priority for me. At this point it is Tuesday afternoon, and the car show H2OI that I'm hoping to go to is this weekend. So I'm hoping to go Friday, and it's now Tuesday afternoon. So I don't know if I'm going to spend a lot of time on the clutch, considering I'm kind of running out of time, and I don't want to be pushed right up to the edge of when I'm going to the show. But I have the timing leg set up, so what I'm going to try to do is advance the timing. I think I'm going to go 3 degrees. That's not a huge swing, but I'm hoping maybe that's enough to get that pipe trying to hit a little harder, a little earlier, or a little easier even, and just get it off the line harder, maybe get the wheel up easier, stuff like that. It could be that that's too much advance and it starts spark knocking, or even killing the power on the top end. Trying to work the throttle slow, roll on and off of it, and just make sure I don't hear any spark knock when I'm rolling on and off. I just have to get used to the fact that I can do wheelies again. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this Dr. Pulley clutch on with the bell that's got the sandpaper liner. See if I either rip that off or I can actually bed this in a little better. There goes another one of those Harleys. Just curious to see if it works. I still don't know if I'm going to mess with it, but I at least want to see if that sandpaper will give me a nice big contact patch there on all the friction surfaces. Surprisingly, that actually stayed in the clutch bell. I really thought it was just going to rip it off, sling it around. So, let's see what these look like. Well, right now, it appears that they've made contact, a nice big contact on every one of them. I don't see spots that are untouched at the moment. So I think I'm going to call that good. I don't want to go crazy and take way too much off of there or anything. Yeah, I'm going to call that done for now. And as you can see by the amount of dust, I just got to clean all this off, and then I'll have to figure out how to get the sandpaper off the bell. Well, I'm assuming I'm going to end up with acetone on here to try and remove the adhesive, but before I get there, I just wanted to see if it would even peel off at all.
Yeah, not bad. No, just left it all.
It's actually not too bad to remove. This is just acetone on an old rag here. Cleaned up easy enough, but before I move on, I got some 60 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to try and rough up this outer edge here where the contact area is. I don't really think that makes very much difference, but it's something I've kind of been accustomed to doing for years with clutch bells, just to rough them up a little bit, and a lot of times it's to break the glaze, which isn't really an issue on this one.